I clicked the button. All right, and we're live. It's the RedEye stream number 33. Hopefully my mic's all right. Mo will be joining us here in a minute, I think. He's having a few issues with his headset, but I am joined here with MC. We're going to talk a little bit of news and what is wrong with the world today. What the fuck, MC? I guess we will lead off with AIDS. I know I said I didn't want to, but god damn it, California, really.
Well, you got the legislature, and then the governor signed the bill that basically says that if somebody sleeps with somebody else and they have AIDS and knowingly don't tell their partner, that they cannot be charged, or they're not to be charged with a crime. Now, I imagine civil lawsuits can extend from this, but I mean, something like this is it's pretty heinous in my opinion. I mean, you're risking endangering somebody else's life is effectively what you're doing. And you're saying now it's okay to spread a communicable disease, a deadly communicable disease, to partners without letting them know ahead of time, with no consequence whatsoever. And I think that the government of California is abridging their duties to protect their citizens, in my opinion. It's, I mean, how can you see it any other way? Now, why would they do this? I'll be honest with you. I honestly believe that the reason is because they make a lot of money from the porn industry, and this is something that the porn industry has been, pushing for. They fought the whole condom bill, about having actors and actresses have to, be for adult films to have to use, if there was being filmed in California using condoms. They fought against that. So now it's true that I'm not sure that exactly if this is the case, but that's the only reason I can see why anybody would want to decriminalize spreading AIDS throughout the state.
You can hear me, right? I was having a little bit of issue. It wouldn't let me. But
yes.
When they were talking about the condom issue that you were just mentioning, their whole argument was that they are tested frequently, and most of the female stars are on birth control, and they're all STDs on like a bi-weekly basis. So doesn't that kind of stop the AIDS argument there?
Well, not really, because the question then would be, okay, if you test negative for AIDS, right? What's the incubation period where you can spread it but still test negative?
Usually you can test positive within 6 months, right?
Okay, so you basically could be spreading it for what, 4 months, 5 months?
So the risk would be the new people coming in, because it would be tested once at that point, and then every 2 weeks or whatever.
Well, yeah, but if you're testing every 2 weeks, but you don't become you don't get a positive from infection for 6 months, how long are you spreading it for?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I just don't know if it's the porn industry making this argument. I think it has a lot to do. The Senator Weiner, I believe, out of the district that covers San Francisco, pushed hard for this legislation. I believe he's pandering to, I hate to say it, but the usually gay community of San Francisco.
Well, how does the gay community benefit from this?
I don't know. It's like
it seems like it would endanger the gay community. The homosexual community in San Francisco.
They're already more endangered, I think, is the problem. And the weird part about this is it even includes donating blood. Did you know that?
Well, they said that you won't have to ask, which is very, very dangerous if you endanger the blood supply. Now, whether or not I think they can ask, right? But basically, it's not a crime if you lie on the form.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You're
But,
donating blood directly. Like
but
we're talking about in plasma. We're talking about red blood cells, right?
well, I I don't know the ins and outs of selling your own blood, right? It could be because there are a number of people who have been denied selling their blood because they're HIV positive, and therefore, as a form of income, is being denied to them.
Well, yeah, you're HIV positive. Just like if you have hepatitis, you're not allowed to donate blood.
Well,
I hate needles, but I have been
there's
so
also a
broke before.
hepatitis epidemic in California as well going on right now. That was reported today.
Yeah, and no, I've been so broke that I've donated plasma, and I only did it twice. And I did it the second time just because you have to do it twice for your plasma to be used. So I didn't want to be a dick and only donate once. But on the form, even if you've been in jail in the last year and a half, they won't let you donate because of hepatitis and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I can't donate blood because of my service in the desert.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a person infected with AIDS should just be allowed to donate?
Well, obviously not, in my opinion. But then again, I'm not the one making these making these rules.
Well, it just seems ridiculous. I don't know what California's thinking.
Well, I do know that they test they test the blood anyway. They do
Yeah,
test it for AIDS.
yeah, but you know, I don't know.
It seems so. So I mean, they are trying to keep. Is it going to keep the blood supply clean or not? I don't know if it will have any effect on, how much protection, how much less, or how this will affect the protection of the blood supply. I honestly don't know if it
Well,
will or not.
granted, it was
But
a
it does
long time
increase.
ago,
I
but
think.
there have been cases of AIDS transfused through blood.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Very much so. I mean, they had that before they knew what was going on. It happened quite a bit. Blood transfusion was a primary transmission for AIDS at one point.
Yeah, so this just seems crazy to put it at risk again after we got it under.
Well, I don't know how much at
Now
risk
nobody
this is
worries.
really going to make it, but at the same time, it obviously is increasing. It seems to be increasing the potential for the risk.
Well, humans make mistakes. Humans have a bad day at work and just don't give a shit and just whatever, it's fine, and move along.
I understand. I agree with you. But until it actually happens, it's still a potential.
Yeah, I think it will happen if I guess they have their way, right?
Well, it seems likely to
So,
me. Yes. Hey,
has
Mo,
the
are you there?
bill been signed? Do you know? I do not have that article pulled up. I have the Russia article pulled up. So
There's a. You might want to dump that in your chat. Dump it in the chat part for the RedEye.
oh, I didn't hear you. I think my computer's taking a while. I'm trying to jump in to go into the chat in case people actually join. The red eye's on the real time it was supposed to be on, and nobody is on here.
Well, see if we can put it in Twitter. I'll try and spread it.
But yeah, I just think the California thing is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking about. It's
No, you know what worries me, to be honest? What California does, Oregon fucking follows. They really do.
well. Are they going to really follow this though? Is this something they're really going to follow?
We do have the first ever bisexual governor in America. So maybe she'll sympathize with the point of view California's taking. Because they said it was a victory for the LGBT whatever, that community. Like they get so many acronyms, I can't keep doing it. I'll just add zebra and fucking tiger next.
Yeah, I don't see the. For one thing, what gets me is it's almost like this sprung on everybody. that nobody knew this was working through their legislature.
Yeah, yeah, right. I never knew that either. I never heard about it, and it passed on the 5th. It passed freaking 3 or 4 days ago. And straight sis, the context of the stream. This is a RedEye. You know the context. We'll end up arguing before the night's over.
I gave him a context for you. Russia and California passes AIDS.
So that's not clickbaity at all.
Well, it's accurate.
The Russians passed AIDS too. That's what we're insinuating. Putin is.
Well, that's true. I didn't mean it like that.
You heard it first on the RedEye. Oh shit! I just talked crap about Putin. My life's in danger.
I don't think Putin is going to care a whole lot about you. Hey, boys. Free AIDS for everyone.
You never know. You never know. Putin might watch the RedEye. I think I have like one Russian that watches. It might be him.
It could be this whole time. You didn't know this, and that.
Oh no! I already think your
voice of one is actually a Russian agent.
No, you are an NSA agent trying to infiltrate my militia. That's what's going on here. Yeah, never. You know, by the way, I have these bump stocks that are just
I do work for the government, but no. I have not worked in the agency for a while now.
Well, that is a good segue. Let's talk about how stupid CNN is for a minute while we wait on Mole to get his act together. Did you see that graphic they put out about bump stocks? That was obviously a freaking a stock that collapsed with a button, and they just use the animation to make it move like that.
Well, I did. I mean,
no, not to mention. Wait, let me finish real quick. Not to mention what I call it from playing Call of Duty, a noob tube, grenade launcher attachment.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that they conflated all that.
Go ahead, sir. How stupid.
I mean, the idea of what a bump stock is. I mean, to be honest, if you're worried about people, if you're truly worried about people seeing what a bump stock is, and spreading bump stocks because you're truly terrified of them, considering how easy they are to produce in your garage, right? You wouldn't want to show it to begin with. Right. So.
So you think they lied on purpose? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I'm giving them that benefit of the doubt because that's the only thing I can think of that would make sense.
Yeah.
It's either that or they're so incompetent, which is a very possible.
Well, do you think anybody on CNN has ever fired a gun? Like, I think maybe they are this stupid. I really want to throw that hypothesis out there. Like, they are really this dumb.
I would. It's obvious to me that many of their commentators absolutely have no idea what a bump stock is or have fired a weapon.
I have to say that just going back to the AIDS thing for a second, I think it's just pure hypocritical that in California you can't kill someone with a gun, which is quick, but you can give them AIDS, which is a long time, slow death disease.
Yeah, man. And a misdemeanor can be something as stupid. You might not know this, but being in Oregon, being around, like if I showed up at a party once, and there was kids already there. They're like 17 or whatever, 18, 19. But they were there drinking already, and it was my house. Me and my buddy had our own beer. We went into the other room and drank, and we were of age. The cops didn't give me a ticket that night. They let us leave when they showed up. But a week later, I got a ticket, and also it was a misdemeanor. So it was like, it got knocked down to a violation. I paid a fine because I didn't do anything wrong. But that's a misdemeanor, is being at a party with underage kids drinking. Okay, so giving AIDS to somebody is now on the same level as drinking at your own house around children, around 19-year-olds.
Well,
Yes.
is there any prison time associated with it?
Yeah, when the judge read off the thing, it was funny because I took this stupid plea deal and I was sitting there and the judge was like, "So you gave liquor to minors? That could be 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine." And the prosecutor's like, "Oh, well, we gave him a deal because he didn't buy the alcohol and we had no proof that he even knew they were there. So he took the deal and we say we do it." And the judge is like, "Okay, done." And I'm sitting there like, "Oh, well, you just fucked me up the ass."
Hey, Ahmad, you sound like a Dalek at the moment.
My mic's messing up again.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Just buy a new one, you cheap bastard.
He's getting one. He's getting one. Don't get on him too much with their voice.
Well, being a libertarian, he's probably going to make one.
Is that a little bit better?
No.
Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Talk about this if you can understand what I'm saying.
Okay, so MC, Mike, because I've never used a bump stock before, bro. So a bump stock, is it no different than me just putting my finger on the trigger and waiting for the recoil just so it lets me pull the trigger again?
Basically, yes. What it does is the stock, you can, while you're gripping the stock, the upper receiver with the trigger move back far enough that the trigger re-engages itself, so that when it comes back forward again, because your finger isn't just sitting on the trigger anymore, it is sitting on a piece of plastic that's immobile. And so basically it's moving the gun back with the trigger's resetting, and then going forward as if you're pulling the trigger again.
But my assessment's not wrong. It's using the recoil of the gun to make the trigger hit once again so you can continue. Correct. Yes. Okay. Cool. We're on the same page. I've never used a bump stock. I've used a lot of guns, but I've never used a fully automatic because, well, they're not legal. Well,
I mean, I've fired automatic weapons, obviously, when I'm in the military. I've fired semi-automatics. I've fired all these different things. The thing is with like a bump stock, it's going to impinge upon your accuracy. All right, if you're actually on your firing accuracy. Now, in the case of you're just trying to spray a crowd, how much effect is that really going to have? Probably, very little, right? If you are familiar with the weapon and you leave it on semi-automatic in a crowd like that, you theoretically could do as much, if not more, damage just leaving it on semi-automatic versus putting it in automatic. But you must admit that the sound of an automatic fire going off, right, causes fear, right? It causes panic.
It sounds scary as fuck. So does a semi-automatic. You know what I mean? Even a semi, as long if you keep pulling that trigger, it's going to keep firing. And there's nothing. It's scary, but there's nothing wrong with having that, so long as you're not shooting people.
Yeah. Shooting people is always a scary business. That's true.
Right. But no, I grew up with SKSs, AK-47s, and I've dealt with a bunch of different weapons.
Yeah, a bump stock is very. I mean, there's multiple ways you can actually build your own in your own garage if you're so inclined to actually do that.
Right? Well, yeah, that's just the same as you can take a AR-15 or something like that. You can take a semi-automatic, and you can make it automatic by fucking with the pin.
Right. Well, right. You can, but that's a bit more complicated. You need a little bit more knowledge about things, and if you're going to do it like with an AR-15, for example, then you have to know a little bit of metalworking in order to actually work on the lower receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
To turn an AR into an automatic weapon. But I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm saying and that it's difficult. But there's a lot more technical knowledge that you have to know. in the creation of a bump stock, for crying out loud, you just got to have some kind of action that allows the receiver to, the upper part of the weapon to ride back on its own to relieve pressure on the trigger from your finger so that it can push it back into it again.
Well,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if my mic's better, is my mic
Yep.
better?
Yeah,
All right. Yeah,
much
the
better.
bump stocks I looked at have an angle to them, so the recoil bounces it literally like a bump. So,
Oh, yeah.
that's the whole-
so you can make that yourself. You could do that with, if you know what you're doing, you could do that with any semi-auto. Like,
this is the difference between cultures. All three of these guys grew up with, guns. I grew up with pimples.
You grew up with pistols, is that what you said?
Pimples, you daft.
Pimples?
well, no, and to be honest, I had a single shot breech action shotgun, 12 gauge. And I got quick with that thing, man. I could be 30 beers deep and still be loading that fucker fucking real quick.
But I bet all your friends were stomping a long distance away.
Oh, they were right beside me because we were idiots.
When you were drunk loading the gun, they were stomping right beside you.
No, I'm not Dick Cheney. They were never in front of me. But no, you could pop that breech open and it's an auto eject, so you could throw another 12 gauge shell in there real quick. So I mean, I could drop a few people with a single action freaking shotgun.
Well, I mean, the other thing about one of the things that I heard, and I don't know how true this is, but one of the things that I heard about this thing in Las Vegas was all 12 of the automatic weapons, the semi-automatic weapons that had the bump stocks, all 12 of them had jams. And jams are common with bump stocks, especially when you put a lot of rounds through it, because a semi-automatic weapon is not created to fire that quickly. And as a result, it has inherent things that cause issues if somebody does try to, turn it into an automatic weapon. It's going to have problems because it's not made for that.
Well, even the M16 is kind of better accuracy wise with the 3-shot burst than it is
right.
fully auto.
Right? Well, one of the things that they found is you're wasting ammunition going full auto. There's very few times when full auto is going to give you an advantage on a battlefield. All right. The
small burst
M16 rifle is meant for engaging the enemy at distance. Now, if you're going to do room clearing or something like that, yeah, full auto is really good if you're in a room clearing kind of situation. But an M16 is not the best weapon for a room clearing type of operation.
MC, I got a fun story for you real quick, just to segue just a little bit. So my dad had a 30-06 that his dad got from Korea when he fought in Korea. He took the gun, he turned it 30-06. I was a little smart ass. I thought, taking out the 12 gauge, yeah, that's fine. I was a little 12-year-old kid. I weighed less than a buck, right?
Uh-huh.
I took out that 30-06, dude, and I fired that fucker down the canyon. Dude, it lifted me up, landed me on my ass. I was shaking, fucking crying. And my dad came home, he was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, I shot the 30-aught. And he was like, "You fucking idiot."
Yeah, the 30-06 that I have, actually, I have a pad in the back because of the kick that it gives.
Am I the only one who noticed that, this 12-year-old was allowed to get his hands on his dad's gun? I'm sorry, am I the only one who thinks that's a bit strange? I mean, going out with your father, strange.
But voice,
your father
I
shooting is one thing.
Dude.
I grew up mountains. I grew up in the mountains. It was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, some poor hiker walking along, next thing you know, boom, there goes a kneecap. What the fuck?
Dude, no, dude, I shot my...
And this 12-year-old kid standing up on the ridge going, "Sorry!"
No, boy, I shot my first gun at 8. It was an AR-15, first gun ever.
And were you alone?
No, I was not, but after that, they let me take the 30-30 out and go target shooting by myself when I was 13. and you can hunt at 13 here in Oregon. It's a different culture, man.
Yeah.
We're a gun.
The nearest neighbors that I had growing up in Nebraska, the nearest neighbors, all right, were over half a mile away. Okay.
There you go.
And we fired guns all the time. We knew where not to point them. We knew where, what the distances were that you had to be careful of. And of course, you never pointed at a house or another neighbor or the neighbor's house or anything else. But we always would take the weapons out and shoot them all the time.
I mean, you never thought, oh, look, maybe there's a couple of teenagers in the woods going at it, and next thing you know, someone gets a new hole,
Oh, well, no, don't get me wrong. We were stupid as kids with BB guns. We used to put freaking life jackets on, kind of like bulletproof vests, and shoot pump action fucking BB rifles at each other. Like, we were idiots.
10 pump minimum.
But we knew better than to do that with a 30-30 or a fucking 12 gauge. All right.
There wasn't going to be a group of neighbor kids doing it in the woods.
Yeah.
Farmland woods. When you have like a grove of trees, that's somebody's property. You don't go on someone else's property unless you ask for permission.
Excuse me, but peeping Tom is a historical profession.
And trespassers can be shot.
Yeah, MC, I was talking to a Cognitive Thought earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, me and my brother, we were out hunting for elk, right? And it was on our land. We had 10 acres in northern New Mexico, right, in the mountains. And we ran into a couple of poachers, bro. And we had a Mexican standoff for about 10 minutes. We marched them out of our property, and they left. And they left the kill, and we were like, no, dude, we're taking the kill. And we actually took the deer. We took the hide, and we were like, no, dude, you guys need to leave right now before you get shot.
It is a different culture, I will admit that. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. People can be very insular about people hunting on their land. And it's not so much, believe it or not, it was never so much whether you could or couldn't, it's whether or not you asked. As long as you asked to be on somebody else's land, at least be on somebody else's property, 99% of the time they would say, yeah, no problem.
We would have said fine.
You on that land and you didn't ask, you were likely to get shot.
I'm having I'm
sure exactly. They were on somebody else's land, voice. They were on somebody else's land and they were hunting. I'm sorry to interrupt, but go ahead, brother.
Flashbacks of Deliverance here, and you talk about your childhoods. Goddamn outsiders. What do you think we should do to them?
Well, no, it wasn't like that. They were poachers. It's different. They were poachers.
You don't have an IRA upbringing there, voice.
Did you give the poachers a good ass whipping before they left?
No, we just pointed our guns at them and said leave, and they left, and we marched them off of the property.
What about UMC? Any homeless people go missing on your property, or?
No. All right. First of all, how many homeless people?
Banjos and no teeth?
How many homeless people do you think you're going to find in Nebraska?
Well,
right.
There was
when the winter time comes, if there's homeless people, you're just basically picking them up and putting them in the morgue. Okay, because it gets that cold at night. There is no we're going to sleep on the grate kind of thing.
No, all the homeless people in America run to Eugene and Portland, Oregon. True story.
Why?
They just love the rain. I don't know. Maybe they get more money here. I don't fucking know.
Well, they're not going to freeze to death like they will in Nebraska. I guarantee you.
Well, because in the summertime, the homeless people take the bus up here and they live in the national forest. But if they stayed during winter, they would die. Like, they don't have a house and a wood stove like I do. Like, they would die up there. So, I mean, but I'm in the Cascades. I'm talking about Eugene, Oregon. they can go to the mission. They can sleep on the street and tweak out. You know, that's what they usually do.
I mean, there are homeless shelters all throughout Nebraska. You know, all throughout the larger cities in Nebraska, or larger towns. For like, we only have really 2 cities. But at the same time, there's not nearly the kind of homeless that you see where I live now in Tucson. I mean, there's homeless all over the place in Tucson.
Yeah, not during the summer though, right? They're not there in the summertime, are they?
Well, you don't see them as much. They're not out panhandling in the summer, no.
Fuck no, they're gonna do that during the spring and the fall.
That's what I would do.
It doesn't get that cold here, really.
Why not? Yeah, the winter, fuck. Like, I don't know why they come to Eugene. It's raining it's raining spring, fall, and winter. Like, why are you here for those months? Like, I don't get it.
So, Dodge, I got a question for you, bro. Do they drive like shit when the rain comes, even though the rain is constantly coming down?
At the very end of summer, people drive like idiots. After that, they're right back in the groove. So, it's the other people from out of state that come up to the Cascades to go skiing and shit, and they're not used to driving in the snow, so they fucking wreck. Or the truck drivers that have been tweaking for a week and they're driving 85 on this highway. They wreck a lot.
Highway 5, no doubt.
Oh, no.
State 5, sorry, interstate.
Well, I'm not going to totally dox myself. If you don't know where the Cascades are and I keep talking about Eugene, then, you know, I don't want you knowing. So, yeah, I'm not going to say the highway.
Your house in Google Maps right now, so.
But I will say, even a truck hauling a bunch of cattle wrecked up here, and fucking they had to shoot a bunch of them on the side of the road. Like, yeah, that was pretty fucking horrible.
My dad was hiding in the hedge, waiting to see if he could grab one and take it back to the family.
I know, right? That's a lot of meat right there.
Mom, look what I got.
I'm not.
Roadkill.
Oh, okay. That's a perfect thing. You know, in Oregon, they just legalized roadkill. And now if you hit a deer, you can keep it.
You joke about it, and in it comes.
Yeah, I'm gonna set up the Roadkill Cafe over here, for sure. No.
Yeah, all 6 kids out with their shovels. Go get dinner.
No, yeah, that's fucked. Do you want some squirrel tonight? That's special.
God forbid some poor homeless guy died in the side of the road. Look what we found, Daddy.
Do I sound okay, by the way?
Hey, I'm not going.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay,
I'm not going.
I was having trouble earlier.
Do you want the answer, by the way?
Oh yeah, I was having trouble earlier.
Go to rainy areas.
Hey.
Oh, Mount Rainier. Yeah, I know where that is. You know, the Three Sisters are up here.
No, I was wondering if you wanted to know why panhandlers like rainy weather. At least around here, they make more money.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off. Go for it.
No, around here, most of the panhandle, because I deal with a lot of people go homeless periodically. Oddly enough, they panhandle. If you're on the side of the road panhandling, you know, at a stoplight, you get more money when the weather's horrible, but not when it's snowing. People don't want to roll down when it's cold, but when it's raining, they look at somebody and go, oh, it's a homeless guy standing in the rain, so they give the money. When it starts snowing, nobody rolls down their window.
That's kind of fun.
That's very true.
No, I don't know how it is in your state, but here, that's. I got a crash course in panhandling.
So of course, I live in a desert, so I mean that observation.
Like this one guy I know, I worked it. I was like, dude, you're making like almost $15 an hour. And he says, well, yeah, but you know, you can only work like 4 or 5 hours a day. And I'm like, why don't you just get a job? You know, I mean, but that was a whole other complicated issue. It's because of the voices in his head.
Well, you got to be careful, because when you tell those dudes they need another job, they're going to get butthurt with you, and you're like, dude, I'm just saying.
Well, no, I've even seen guys with will work for food, and I got like 4 burgers at McDonald's because I'm stoned, and I have 1 left. I'm like, oh, you want a burger? They're like, no thanks. I'm like, what?
Like, so
My
you only
mom
want.
pulls into the car park. Hey, do you want to earn a burger? And unzip the supply, you know.
No, there was no prerequisite for the burger. Okay.
You know, the irony is, when you're someone who works with the homeless, you very quickly become very cynical about panhandlers. Because it's when you actually deal with them, it's weird how many like aren't really homeless. You know, they're just out there. They have a home to go to. They're just standing out there because people throw money at them.
This is their job. This is what they've done for their job now.
Oh, and it's tax-free, man. And taxation is theft. That's
Well,
the way
it's not tax-free. The fact that they don't pay taxes doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be paying taxes.
Wait,
No,
wait a minute. Are you fucking telling me they're supposed to pay income tax for holding a side
If
job?
you have,
Oh yeah,
if
you even need to pay taxes if you steal money. If you're a criminal and you don't report it to the IRS, they will come after you. But if you're a criminal, you steal money. There's a line on your IRS easy form for reporting stolen income.
Oh shit! So all that weed money I got back when I was younger.
If you pay the taxes on it, the IRS won't come after you. It doesn't mean that the police won't. It just means they won't come after you for tax evasion.
Well, it's legal now, so you know.
Well, yeah.
You could.
but the reality is, yes, you have to pay taxes regardless of how you got money. If somebody gives you money,
no, MC. You know, I hate to break this back into a libertarian argument, but that's why taxation is theft, man. They didn't even work, dude. Some person gave them a gift.
Have you ever done taxes? I used to work for not H&R Block. Was it Liberty?
Oh, I paid H&R Block.
That is like the book on the tax. There's like 4 different books. It's like getting 4 different phone books. Really, it's bizarre. I mean, they've got the computer to help you out, but if you actually read the books, my God, it's disgusting.
No, but supposedly taxation is voluntary. The income tax is a voluntary tax, people.
No, it's not. It's not a voluntary tax. They have a fucking gun to our head. They're like, you fucking pay us. I'm not saying necessarily.
We're not trying to make a moral judgment whether it's right or not.
Technically right.
Case law.
Oh shit! I triggered Sith.
No, you did trigger me. I just I wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
No, that's right. Mow roads. I don't want to get into roads. We're talking about the income tax, boys.
No, but there's nothing wrong with a little bit of taxes. However, I think you should be let known what the taxes are for and what you're paying for. It's all.
Well, yeah. Okay, so you have to tell them how you earn your money, right? They don't tell you how to spend your money.
Don't do for my dollar.
Well, I used to.
Is there somewhere in the tax form for pimping children?
No, this is fucking no. God damn it!
The fastest way to end an income tax in the United States would be very simple if you sit up there and ended withholdings.
Okay.
Yep.
If you end withholdings and then tell people at the end of the year, no longer is your company going to be paying into a withholding, that you have to sit up there and pay that bill at the end of the year. If people were seeing what they had to write a check to the government, they had to write the check to the government. They saw what's coming out of their pocket. That's the fastest way to end an income tax. Now, getting Congress to pass a law like that, good friggin' luck.
No, the fastest way is jury nullification. Haha. Time to trigger MC.
And how are you going to? You saw what happened with jury nullification with Willie Nelson. Did it work out for him?
No. Yeah, poor Willie. That shit was fucked.
Did it work?
Dude, Willie was
I wouldn't think that jury nullification is a good idea, is it?
Oh, and poor Wesley Snipes. Like, God damn it. There's too many snakes in this goddamn prison. I mean, plane.
Willie was giving money to fucking charities.
Wesley Snipes delayed guy. I messed it up on purpose, boys. Don't be a dick and ruin it.
Oh, no. I actually, I decided to give, you've been telling me for ages that Enterprise is good. Well, I just got the 4-season box set. And I have to say, I'm only partway through season 1, but I don't know why I didn't like it when it first came out, but I have to say I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah,
awesome.
it kind of, unfortunately, with Enterprise, you have to watch the show first and then go back and watch it, and then you enjoy it. When you're watching it the first time, you don't know. Unfortunately, they did a lousy job explaining it.
That's literally the second stream I've been on today about Star Trek. Or we've talked about Star Trek.
No, I don't want to talk about STD. If you want to talk about Enterprise, great. STD, I'm done.
There's 2 reasons why Enterprise made a big hit, and it was in episode 2, where DePaul is in the decontamination with Trip, and it's like having 2 bullets on her chest.
Lotion rubbing. That's what's going on here.
I don't know how many times I rewatched that scene, but you know.
Everybody knows
the reason a lot of people didn't like Enterprise is they didn't like that I know of is one of the big reasons was they didn't like the actor who played the captain.
You mean Scott Bakula?
The guy from
they did not like Scott Bakula, and I know I didn't have much of a problem with it, right? But there are people that I know that just absolutely despise Scott Bakula and anything that he's in.
Why is that?
Don't know.
Yeah, I heard the same thing too. The other reasons that I heard people talk about it is that they didn't understand entirely was a prequel, even though they were told they didn't. They were kind of like, well, why don't they just beam things up? They can't beam things up. They have very limited technology. And apparently people hated that. They really hated that. They hated that it was weak. Like they wanted bigger, better booms. They didn't want to get smaller. I didn't understand that. I like that aspect.
I know you said you didn't want to touch on, the D.
Do not want to touch the D, but go ahead.
Do you think that's why that they're just saying fuck it and doing anything they want, so they don't fall in that pitfall?
I think the problem is that Star Trek itself is based on a future with no scarcity. Okay, you can print food, clothing, whatever you want with a magic device. You can teleport anywhere you want to. You can get in a machine and fly into orbit like you would with a taxi. Okay? Star Trek is a no scarcity future where everybody has their needs met and most of their wants. The people who are writing that show think the world is still full of scarcity, and they think humanity's evil. That's the problem. They're writing from the premise that everybody is still scarcity and that everybody's evil. They hate humanity. It's obvious the way they treat people.
They hate white humanity.
With Star Wars,
wait a minute, though. I'm a big Trekkie, and if you look at this point in the timeline, there is no scarcity. They don't have the replicators quite figured out.
Well, they do have it on that ship, and you keep seeing this technology that's much more advanced than it should be. I'm with you that if they had kept everything else the same, but because they have this, look, we're in a scarcity-free universe, and everybody's still an asshole, it's jarring. I could accept all the social justice warrior bullshit from before because I accepted the premise. Okay, when you've got unlimited food, power, whatever, yeah, people might act that way. It makes sense internally. The show is jarring.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense internally. That's the problem. It isn't just the poor writing. It's that when I'm looking at it and going, God, it doesn't make sense. And as a writer, it drives me insane.
Can you guys agree with me that J.J. Abrams destroyed Star Wars and Star Trek?
Yes.
I can agree with Star Wars.
I can agree with Star Wars.
Star Trek film is the only one he directed. Wasn't that bad? It wasn't that great, but Trek films never are that great. Look at all of them. Even Wrath of Khan.
I hate Star Trek, just to start with. I hate Star Trek. I love the actors. Don't get me wrong. I love all the actors that have ever played in Star Trek. I just hate the fucking show, personally.
Oh, dude, Kirk would kick the shit out of Luke, and Riker would beat the shit out of Solo. And then I don't give a shit about any of that. I don't care about
hang on, Seth. Did you say you hate all Star Trek?
No, I've never really watched Star Trek. Hold on. Let me finish. I've never actually finished Star Trek, so I don't really know exactly where I'm coming from. And I can admit that. All I'm saying, though, is clearly, even with the name title, that I love Star Wars.
MC, I'm going to need your 30-06.
No, I can get why some people might not like Star Trek, because it is that scarcity-free universe where everything is impossibly nice. And I've talked to some people who say, I just can't get behind it. It's so unrealistic. I got that. It's a dream fantasy future. Got it. Some people don't find that appealing. That's okay. You don't have to like it.
I don't think it's unrealistic.
My problem, if you want to take a look at things, my problem with Star Trek is this. Okay, as people would expand in space, right? There would be areas of humanity that would rebel against authority and say, "We're not doing it your way."
That's
and
right.
They would have.
I would leave the Confederacy
from a weapon standpoint to at least put up a fight. So the idea that the Federation is coming out of a time where, okay, you just came out of a time of major conflict, and now humanity starting to spread, and we're all one happy, joyous federation with all these aliens, is quite unrealistic.
Okay, MC, hold on. I have actually a theory on this, bro. Because, like, people like us, I'm pretty sure that you're not necessarily staunch right-wing. However, you don't really have too much of a problem with, say, Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, that's an accurate assessment, per se.
You're not necessarily, like, butthurt with him, but however, you think he could do other things.
Right.
So, are we not on the same level when we talk about being a centrist? Because I have always been centrist, and how about you? I stand in the middle, and whatever things that they like, I'm perfectly fine with same-sex marriage, right? We're good with that. Go ahead. If you guys want to be miserable too, then fucking by all means. Other things like that, like war and peace and the whole 9 yards. Like, a libertarian is somebody that actually looks at all of it.
Well, while what you're saying is accurate, the idea that one of the problems with humanity that Star Trek ignores, in my opinion, is people in authority always feel the need to dominate. All right, so
okay.
the live
That's
and let live, the laissez-faire attitude of, okay, your planet, you can kind of do what you want. We're not going to mess with your planet, right? That crap goes away, all right? When you have a group of people that want to dominate other people, they will try and enforce their view of things. This is not a condition of the left or the right. It's a condition of humanity, right? So if you get a group of people, especially if you have a group of religious fundamentalists, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they will initially isolate themselves. And if you say, okay, fine, we'll let you live and everything else, what do you do when they start building weapons? What do you do when they start saying it's time for the jihad, it's time for the crusade, it's time to our God has telling us now to go out there and expand and conquer and bring enlightenment. Either bring enlightenment and let them become enlightened, and if they can't enlighten them with the sword. Okay,
send them to Sweden.
This is the way human beings are, and it's not just that. It's the same thing applies to, for example, the communists, right? You can't say that was an atheist, that was a religious crusade, but it was just as bad. It was a moral crusade to dominate and say, if you don't like it our way, we're going to put a gun to your head and tell you you're going to like it our way. This is how human beings are. And if you put them on planets spread out all over the place with very little contact with one another, only small contact, now and then in a space environment, if you think that it's all going to become happy-go-lucky, live and let live, I'm sorry, that's not the way humanity is.
No.
I have two.
Well, a few things real quick here. One, we don't know what humanity would be after a post-scarcity society. I think the best book I've read on it was Midas World. I recommend it to anybody. That said, assuming we did go into this post-scarcity future, there's two things about humanity that do stand out. One, power is addictive, physically addictive. They've measured it, the dopamine. You become addicted when you have power. I personally went through that. I know what it's like to be addicted to power and constantly chasing that next high. Because after I tasted it the first time, no matter what I did, it was never enough. But the second thing is humanity is not sheep. Everybody thinks of them that way. We're mimics. We mimic what's around us. There's a few people who are rebels who go off and do their own thing. The ones who survive are the ones everybody imitates. Okay, so you're right. Humanity gets isolated. They're going to diverge. They're not going to be alike. But as for whether or not everybody's going to turn to a bunch of assholes once you can print food by pressing a button, like the Jetsons, I don't know. That I'm not sure of.
Okay, well, I have 2 points on this also. One is the Expanse. That's the world you're looking at, MC, where Mars is opposed to Earth and the Belters are opposed to the other two. That's a really good sci-fi series. You should check it out. And two, also, real quick, you're kind of describing Discovery, though, because the Klingons are saying exactly that about the Federation. They want to make us into them. They want to pretty much assimilate us, and we won't stand for it. So, I mean, you're kind of making Discovery's plot arguable.
Well, I think that after watching a number of these, and I have not seen any of the STD episodes, all right, but just watching the reviews from quite a number of people, both pro and con, I have a feeling that what they're going to do with it is that you're seeing the start of, Section 31. You're seeing the beginning of Section 31, and that's why it's so dark.
That's what I kind of like. I kind of like that storyline, but go ahead. I think Voice has been trying to talk for the last couple minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's all right. I think to go back to MC's point, you're saying the future will be more like Babylon 5 than Star Trek, if you've ever seen that show.
Yeah, actually, I thought Babylon 5 was a pretty realistic one.
Everything's there for the telepaths.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's more you think we'd end up like.
Yeah, I do think that would be closer to Babylon 5, to be honest.
To be honest,
I don't think the universe is a friendly place.
I don't think that we're a friendly group of people. I don't think that we're evil necessarily, but humanity has certain core things, one not the least of which is laziness, and mankind has an instinct to dominate, to fix things, to strive and go forward. It's both positive and negative.
See, feminists were right about the patriarchy.
Well, no, and you should love the mirror universe in Star Trek. And also, we're not lazy.
Everyone loves the mirror universe in Star Trek.
Also, you're bastards. You're bastards. You know why? Because you made a Star Wars nerd actually start thinking about Star Trek. Fuck you, Dodge.
Oh, I like Star Wars too. Not necessarily the new shit though. It's all Disney-fied.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah, no, I agree. Fuck all the new Star Wars. The new Star Wars is bullshit.
Come to Star Trek. Come to Star Trek.
Sorry, Sith, before we get back
to tricky.
Come to the dark side. No, wait a minute. No, that's the wrong phrase to use.
But I have a pretty good news article queued up, but before we get to that, how do you feel about Star Wars throwing out all the books after they switched to Disney? None of the books matter anymore, or the old video games.
They can get fucked in many, many, many different ways.
Well, how many people?
Oh no, that irritates me. No, I read the fuck out of a lot of the books. Like the EU is my thing, dude. They had to bring fucking Rey, the goddamn little girl that was she was Mary Sue instantly, guys. Mary Sue instantly. Got away with that shit. And are you kidding me? That was A New Hope, literally redesigned.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no risk. There's no risk taking in that movie at all. None at all. There was no risk at all.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Actually, I can tell you exactly which road the new Star Wars films are going, because I have the book in front of me. It's an old book, but it's the same storyline they're using in the new films. It's called Star Wars: Heir to the Empire, where they want to bring down the Force to end the whole thing. I think that's what they're going to try and do.
Well, that's what they always try to do in a lot of Star Wars stories. If you read the books, there's a lot of we're going to get rid of the Force in this way or this way, and that goes from the dark side. And I use the straight Sith male thing because I wanted to be a smartass. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody knows Sith are fags, so.
Yeah, exactly. No, I could have gone with some Jedi thing, but I didn't really find.
I mean, a Sith and a Sith Master has more to do with a priest and a choir boy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No. No. I think that J.J. Abrams literally fucked up Star Wars and Star Trek at the same time.
Well, what I hate about it is he took the Star Trek job, and then halfway through, I think he signed on for all 3 movies. And then after the first movie, they're like, "Hey, you want to do Star Wars?" He's like, "Yeah, fuck Trek, I'm out."
Abrams, you see, dude ruined everything.
Well, I mean, I will give Abram this. He did go right off the bat going, "Hey, look, time travel, new timeline, stop beating us up over it not fitting shit." Okay, so I got it. I'm lazy, absolutely lazy, but, okay, I can go with it. It's an alternate timeline, whatever. As long as you check your brain at the door and stop trying to think back to things, it's tolerable.
No, but
killing space bees with rock and roll, I like that.
Remember everything. We're like the North in fucking Game of Thrones. We remember.
Remember, and also even though I don't like Star Trek, I think you should be nice to the genre. You should remember the genre. You should be kind to those people.
Then we lost Maul.
Yeah, the movies were more silly than the series. I think that was the problem. But I mean, taken on their own, they're okay. Is their own little separate timeline? I mean, you're talking to somebody who kind of liked them, which is why you should take my advice when I say STD is horrifying. I like everything except that.
I like
libertarians are living in a separate timeline. They still believe the South won.
No, only those libertarians. I can't speak for all libertarians when it comes to the Civil War. That's a very big issue amongst us libertarians.
Anyway,
I still can't suspend disbelief.
I think we've beaten Star Trek and Star Wars to death now.
I got one more thing.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
I said it's still hard for me to suspend disbelief about the shit. I just lost the name of it. the transporter things. Sorry, I just lost it.
Well, yeah,
the teleporter.
I mean, technically speaking, the teleporter murders everybody every time they teleport.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That's the part that bothers me probably the most about Star Trek. Always.
Well, if you want to learn about the transporter, watch the movie The Fly. It explains everything.
Right, but so not even that, but you'd have to reconstitute everyone's brain and their thoughts and everything that just happened in their head.
Well, that's why it's a matter stream, whatever the hell that is. I don't mean
to reference the Star Wars again, but Spaceballs. You told me my ass is this big? Come on.
Is that thing safe? Oh, yes. It's not even
the Orville.
Scotty beamed me last night. Twice.
No, that was the old school. That was fucking what's his name? The Jewish bastard. God damn it.
Well, the one thing that was going to be about Star Trek was when it came to the transporter is because exactly what you're saying is correct. They supposedly tear apart a human being, all right, and then recreate the molecules because they turn matter to energy and back to energy back to matter again. Well, okay, if you can do that and you have the power to do something like that, all right, and the computing information,
Right.
be able to do something like that. Well, then why don't I have 2 Spocks, 4 Spocks, 6 Spocks? What what's this thing about cloning? I just sit up there and just add energy and look, I can beam another person. Look, I can beam another person.
Well, it's not even that part.
Stream. It's not an energy stream. It's a matter. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it. Matter stream.
It's
that's
just
their
a
bullshit
brain thing.
rationale.
Like, if I could believe everything else, it's the part where it comes to how the brain's reassembled. Like, realistically, if you could get everything right, there's no way you could get someone's thoughts.
What I don't understand is why they don't just keep a backup copy of everybody. Every time a red shirt dies, they go, "Oh, damn, the red shirt died. Beam up his dead corpse and put him back at the save point." I mean,
when they sign their contract of Starfleet, it's "I will die and no one will care."
It's more like Star Trek should have turned into the.
Why did you have to say it? The fuck, the Antifa are gonna use that now, you bastard.
I hate to be the asshole that brings, real life into it. But the only reason they ever had a transporter was because they couldn't afford to have a shuttlecraft land on every planet.
Yeah, that is true. It was cheap, I think what they did, they actually just shimmered some tinfoil and gold leaf in the air or something. It was weird.
Glitter in a glass and stirred it.
Yeah.
Or
but it is one of the more iconic devices that was ever created for the show. I mean, everyone talks about it.
Along with that is Geordi's visor. It's funny. One of my daughters came to me the other day and had her beret on her head or over her eyes. Was like, "Look, I'm Geordi." I'm like, "Uh-huh." That's exactly how they came up with it.
So you've got a black daughter.
I'm pretty sure every kid did that at one point. At least my age.
Well, I watch a lot of Star Trek, so even my kids know about the old Star Trek, TNG's, 25 years old now? I mean...
Hey, the first 2 seasons, the blind guy was driving the ship. That should disturb you.
Yeah. No, I think there was an interview with the chick that played Deanna Troi, which she's not the best character, I know. But she was like, they finally let me drive the ship in, I think it was First Contact. She's like, they let the fucking blind guy drive in season 1.
Well, she is a woman. So.
Hey, the first time the Doctor, Beverly Crusher, drove
she's lucky there wasn't a transporter. I guarantee you there were a number of people going, oh, she's beaming down? We can have an accident here. we can get rid of her now.
Leslie Crusher on the same transporter accident.
Yes, definitely.
Hey, first time Beverly Crusher was driving the starship, she flew it into a sun. That's all I got to say.
She is a doctor, not a pilot.
Then, well, after that, she fired it at the Borg. She fired a star at the Borg. I mean, that's her way of solving a problem. Fly into a star, fire it at your enemy. She's a little overkill for a doctor.
Well, it worked.
Well, that is true. But...
And Dr. Mengele would have been proud. There's your Hippocratic oath. Eat this!
Yeah, eat a sun, you bitch.
Eat a solar flare.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, after I saw it, I said, my God, she's vicious. I don't know. I don't think anybody else would have come up with the idea. Okay, step one.
What happens when you have a redhead? Remember, they have no souls. You put a ginger in charge of something, you can pretty much figure it's going to be mass death sooner or later.
Yeah, that's true. They have no souls.
Well, I think you already covered it, that nobody has a soul in Star Trek. They all got on that transporter thing.
I actually thought it was a far scarier concept if every time they get beamed, they die, but every time they're rebuilt, they get a new soul. So imagine you took the transporter every day, twice a day to go to and from work. when you finally died and you went to heaven, there's like, 10,000 of you sitting there saying, we have got to get back to Earth and tell them
no,
to
it's
stop
more like
this
there's
shit.
like 5 of you in heaven, and the rest of them are down at hell. You're like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, that would be scary if only some of you made it to heaven.
Actually, I think it'd be more realistic if everybody started using the transporter and you had just all these fucking retards in the bridge, one with 3 arms couldn't talk, others with fucking 2 jaws.
I like this.
How do we do this? I was probably a bit low, but
Did they ever get scrambled?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, in the very
They've
first
gotten
movie.
scrambled. They've gotten merged. They've been beamed into deep
two
space with
records.
wide dispersion. There's
Yeah.
lots of things.
They
I mean,
made
that's-
every transporter accident you could think of. That was a plot point for like half episodes.
Why didn't they use that as a weapon? Just beam all the enemy off a ship before they put the shields up,
You can't. Well, you got to do it before the shields go up.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. This is some of the stupidest shit because I always wondered from the very beginning. You have photon torpedoes. You got to fire them. Why fire them? Beam them over. Beam them on top of them. You don't have to aim. You just have to go. Blam! They don't miss.
Yes, but you have to remember
Yeah, I always
that
wondered what
Star Trek. No, you have to remember that Star Trek isn't Muslim. You can't have Captain Picard on the bridge going, "Hello,
Shut the fuck up, Roy. Shut up. You're actually cracking me up.
All right. Let's get to a real news topic. It is the RedEye. God damn it.
All right. Do you have a news story for us?
Russia warns they may restrict U.S. media within its borders. The latest in a string of saber-rattling announcements between the United States and Russia saw Moscow claiming it is within its rights to restrict operations of U.S. media, which it obviously is, right? No argument here from the panel on that.
Well,
No.
let's be honest. We're not getting the truth from the fucking media anyway, so I don't think it would actually harm if Russia did stop them going because they make up the lies anyway.
Well, no, and like I said before the show, the MC, I've been watching a lot of conspiracy shit lately, or listening to it while I was like cleaning the house and working and shit. And like this really sounds like the media is trying to amp up this war that might be building between North Korea, China, Russia, and ourselves.
Well,
And
it's
if that's the
news.
case,
Duh.
well, if that's the case, they need to knock it the fuck off because that's in no one's best interest, especially mine. I live on the West Coast. A
It's
nuclear
in the media's best interest. The more conflict, the more they have to report, the more they can distract people. Blah, blah, blah. It's a moneymaker.
Yeah, but
The real-
Eldritch God,
but this
I don't
isn't-
want to die.
I honestly
live on the-
think this is not a saber rattling thing about tit for tat or war or anything else. I really think that this has more to do with the fact that in March there's a new presidential election happening in Russia, and they're going to clamp down on any kind of press. All right, unless it plays the ball with the way the press should play. I mean, you got to remember Putin's in charge, and if they keep going after Putin like they have, he's basically putting them on notice that he'll kick their asses out of the country. That's what this is.
Yeah, that's basically all it is.
Yeah, but MC, he knows damn well we can't kick RT out of the country. We have freedom.
We're not going to. We didn't kick Pravda out of our country. It's not a tit for tat thing. But for him, he doesn't care about RT or what RT reports. What he cares about is what gets reported and what's going on the ground. All right, not just to the American people, but to his own people.
I have a question. Have you guys heard of alternative media television, AMTV, and Christopher Green?
No.
I have not.
No. All right. Well, I'll share a link to you guys. But I get he has like over 200,000 followers. I guess RT reached out to him for him to sell out to them pretty much and have a show on there. And he said no. And he believes that there's a ramping up and that war is coming. But he's been saying that for 10 fucking years. He's like Alex Jones. But I don't know. I kind of see it now. You guys don't?
Well, a war can erupt. The fact that there isn't a war or anything doesn't preclude the fact that a war could erupt. Right? I mean, that's and it can erupt in areas in ways that people.
And Russia's building up troops along the peninsula, right there with their small border with North Korea, and it's a very small border. What is it, like 10 miles or some shit?
Yeah, it's not very big. I think it's more than 10 miles. I think it's like 50 or something like that. But it is a very small borderline.
Yeah. And they're building up troops right there. I've seen video, not from AMTV or anything. It looked like local video from that area of Russia of convoys coming through. Missiles, or not ballistic, but air defense missiles and small ground, armored military vehicles and shit like that rolling through. And to be honest, in the last year or two, I've seen military vehicles rolling through my old town, Junction City, on the train line. Like in plain view, I saw tanks rolling through. I mean,
you are how far away from Fort Lewis?
Well, no, I'm dead serious. They were heading north.
So am I.
Well, I'm talking about Junction City. Junction City is 100 miles from Portland, pretty much exactly.
Right,
like
but the thing is, you got to remember about. All right, let me explain some things. All those tanks and stuff that we sent over the desert, they're not coming back. Okay, we shipped a ton of freaking equipment over there that's not coming back. It's not coming back to the United States for a variety of reasons. Not the least of which is by now it's pretty much trashed and it's not worth the cost to bring it back to the United States and overhaul it and then ship it.
I hate that though. I hate that because you could scrap it and get some of the money back for the taxpayers.
The taxpayer would have to spend the cost of bringing all of that back, and that's not going to be insignificant. So really,
there's no savings there.
What if you? Wait a minute though. What if you dismantle it and then sell not the parts but the metal and shit to private companies?
What you do is you sell the tanks as is to the frickin' Iraqis. You get more out of it.
Yeah, because they're never going on.
No, have you seen the political climate in Iraq? They're not necessarily our friends. I don't want to sell them.
We're not selling them top-of-the-line equipment either.
Well, also, don't forget the munitions that are out there. The munitions that are out there.
No.
That movie, Lord of War. Hold on, real quick, Dodge, before you. The Lord of War. It costed them less money to show munitions that actually were real munitions rather than fake.
I know. I own Lord of War, and I know what you're talking about. But to me, I don't want to give our sooner or later enemy, which, come on, they're going to be our enemy again. Let's not be fucking stupid. Weapons. No, wait a minute. You want to ban bump stocks to American citizens, but leave a shit ton of tanks in Iraq.
Yeah, but you're leaving a shit ton of tanks that are worn out. Number one, they're not top of the line. Number two, hold on,
I will pay to ship it over. Hook me up.
And what's more is that in order for them to do the upkeep on them, they have to maintain them. At which point we can always turn off the spigot to their the supply line to keep them running. This is what we did to Iran. Iran, people forget this. Iran had one of the best air forces in the world. They had over 100 of our F-15s, top of the line fighter planes. During the Iran-Iraq war, however, they couldn't get more than 5 of them up at any point in time because we refused to sell them any of the parts that they needed, all right, to keep those things running.
Because we were back in Iraq.
Yes,
and then we turned on Iraq.
No, we were not back in Iraq. We were basically bleeding both sides.
What? See, this is why, this is why entangling alliances are best left alone.
We did not have an alliance with either one of them at the time.
No, but we were selling them weapons.
Yeah, we were totally making money off of both.
Those weapons were already the ones there. What we were selling is intel.
Oh, come on.
We were bleeding them.
Come on.
No,
When
we
you're
were
talking about
selling them
Intel
intel.
and weapons.
Here's what you do. Here's what was going on. We would walk up to their ambassador and say, we have satellite information that shows a buildup of the Iraqis. All right, we're over talking to the Iranians. Want it? Yes or no? How are they going to say no? And then we did this exact same thing with the Iranians and the Iraqis. We walked into the Iraqi government and said, you know what? Here's where a buildup's coming from the Iranians. How are you going to tell them no?
No, but we have a word for that. It's called two-faced. No wonder they don't like it.
It's not two-faced. It's a matter of you look. It's your choice to take the intelligence or not.
Well, that's totally two-faced. Come on.
It isn't nice to do something like that, but what are you going to do?
No,
Well,
this
anyway,
is why.
Back to North Korea.
No, but this is why Ron Paul is fucking right, and we have blowback. This situation right here. Now go ahead. I'm gonna calm down. Fuck you, MC.
I usually just keep track of Yonhap, their main newspaper over in South Korea. And to be honest, South Korea does not seem worried at all about North Korea. I think there's a lot of saber rattling, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere because for a while there, South Korea seemed nervous, and then they just kind of dropped off the news. Like, okay, our neighbors to the north are having a nuclear bomb. Must be Thursday.
No killer.
I have to say, I don't know why you Americans are so worried about someone bombing you. I mean, with this new law, you'll all be dead with AIDS in 10 years anyway.
We're worried about someone bombing us because we fucked over Japan like nobody's business because they fucked around and we were like, all right, motherfucker, you want to play? This is how we're going to play. Straight.
Yeah, karma fit. We're waiting for it to come back around.
Well, let's be honest here. Name me a country you haven't fucked over.
Oh, let's see. Great Britain. Great fucking Britain. We didn't fuck them over. They started that shit.
What about?
No, we said Great Britain
hold on,
like the bitches that they are.
Yeah. Fuck the
Belgium.
How have we
Belgium.
how have we screwed over India?
Who MC?
Yeah, we never screwed over India.
Yeah,
You
India.
did.
Yeah.
Pakistan, India, they both got nukes, and we've always been kind of messing with them over that.
Over what? How are we messing with them? What do we do?
We
Yeah, but
basically
I'll-
went up to them and pointed a gun at them and say, you will get your nukes under control now.
Well, good. They're gonna shoot each other. Even I'm like, holy shit, these guys hate each other.
Yeah, Pakistan's pretty nuts. So
The whole nuclear power thing is a fucking Mexican standoff.
Oh, yeah, they could destroy each other in 8 minutes. That's the weird thing in their situation. Like from launch to boom is 8 minutes in their situation.
Yeah, but there's a lot of Indians.
They want to kill Pakistan. Come on.
You know, that's not necessarily something that we should really necessarily worry a whole hell of a lot about. Pakistan.
Wait, so I do have a question. Does Pakistan eat cows? Is that the issue?
I
What?
don't care.
Okay,
Whatever.
I have a question.
wait, what?
Pakistan, do people in Pakistan eat cow? Is that the root of the issue? And if so, are we?
I think the root of the issue is they both freaking hate each other with a passion.
What bothers
For
me?
religious reasons. They do. They just hate each other.
Start over somene's pet cow. An Indian had a cow.
One eats cow, one doesn't eat cow, one doesn't eat bacon.
They have been known, each side has been known to drive the animal that the other one hates through their religious temples in the past.
You know what? That is amazing.
Well, let's be honest, Maud Dodge. You started a war with America because of the French, so you're no better.
Oh,
what? The Southerners?
Hey,
Yes.
What are you talking about?
The French gave us the Lady of Liberty, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, when no one else wanted it.
fucking over the British.
You know what, though, voice? Come on. Let's be real about the French. They took their sweet time getting over here. Then they helped with what? Like 2 battles and a couple fucking commanders to help our troops. They didn't do that much.
They basically supplied the Washington's standing army for a long time. You can't deny that.
They supplied the cash. They supplied cash. That's what they brought us.
Well,
they
exactly.
didn't supply cash. They didn't supply the small arms.
Why do you think the Confederacy was praying for somebody to break the blockade? That's all they needed. They had the generals. They had the troops. They just needed somebody to break that.
What they didn't have were factories. And what
that
they
is true.
Why somebody railroad system where you could sit up there and on the same track run from one end of the South all the way to the other end.
Yeah, but
that's because the South were a bunch of frickin' dicks to each other as much as they were to everyone else.
Good. That's how my government. I want it separate. I want it to grind slow. Then tyranny can't fucking come about.
Well, and apparently you were wrong because it prevented you from your own words. It prevented you from stopping the tyranny.
You're right. You're right when it comes to that. But why sell your soul for your freedom? No, but seriously, if you're going to be a confederacy of states, then you can't be a federal. You can't become what you're fighting against to win. The ends do not justify the means.
Well, then the reality is that you couldn't survive on your own.
You could have survived on your own if you guys would have left us alone. You dick.
It wasn't a matter whether it was us or whether it was a different federal force. You would have been conquered.
And think about it. Going on during the fucking potato famine, there was a bunch of Irish coming through. It was a potato famine. They were hungry, and they were like, "All right, dude, you can either join a gang of New York or you can join the military."
Yeah, there was a Southern Irish Brigade too, but
don't bring the fucking Irish into this mod. Don't let them see away with it. Fucking attack, stick.
I didn't say anything about the Irish.
No. So move to a happier topic. So we'll move to a happier topic. I got something.
Pumpkin spice.
No. Danish police find severed head in Kim Wall submarine case. This is my new favorite thing. Have you guys heard about this?
Real? Is that a real thing?
Oh, yeah, this is real. No, Danish divers found the decapitated head, legs, and clothes of a Swedish journalist who was killed after going on a trip with an inventor on his submarine, police said Saturday. Get this, they've got videotape of him chopping the body up, of torturing and killing this woman in his submarine, and he's claiming he's innocent. It's amazing. I just want to play that song. Wasn't me. And I stabbed her in the shower. Was me. And I cut off her head and put it in a sack of metal and tossed it up.
What?
I'm serious. Peter Madsen. This guy wants to go into space. He built a giant smoke ring projector in Copenhagen. It sits on top of this sloping building. It takes a half ton of carbon dioxide in frozen form, and then it makes a giant smoke ring that blows it out over the city. This guy is nuts. I love him. I'm going to make him bad.
He murders people and chops them up in a submarine, and you love this guy?
He's got balls that clang.
Dude, it reminds me
how do you keep
not high on my admiration?
He made a video of him murdering somebody, kept it on his computer, and then had the balls to say, manslaughter. I'm not guilty of manslaughter.
I have to ask, Eldridge, do you have a big shrine in your basement to Hitler? I'm just thinking, if we're going to buy the level of people you admire,
No, but seriously, is this guy not a James Bond villain? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, he's like a James Bond.
This guy's a worldwide villain. He's not even James Bond. He's in real life.
On his YouTube channel, he built a centrifuge for testing pilots to send into space, but he made a rocket on it. Not something you could turn on and off, but a rocket you light up and it goes. So he wants to put human beings in this rocket-powered centrifuge that you can't turn off once it starts. It's like, wow, you are.
So the person is sitting there fried to death going, turn it off. And they just keep going round and round. What a plan.
No, I'll go. I'm just saying, there's 6 kids here. Oh, can I bring beer with me?
It's just, why this guy didn't get stopped sooner is the problem as far as I'm concerned. Like, all the warning signs are there.
I said here he actually made a snuff film about the lady. He actually made a snuff film.
And the torso was found. It had 15 stab wounds in it. Guess what he said? He said, well, I made those stab wounds so that I'd let the air out.
How much money does this guy have, though? I mean, really?
Enough to actually legitimately have a chance of launching himself into space. He was
going to be doing
his first alpha test.
Personal submarine.
He built his own submarine.
He's a bit more than just well off.
Yeah, like, holy shit.
And just think, you Americans
Evil
think you
Tony
have problems
Stark.
with bum stocks.
I mean, Danish is a pretty weird country if this is like one of their people.
Well, no, when it comes to submarines, though, in the back of magazines, I saw kits to make little one-person submarines. I'm not saying they were safe. I'm just saying they were like, 5 payments in 1999.
I'm gonna be doing a video about them. It's gonna be like Unsolved Mysteries. The title's going to be The Best Feel-Good Unsolved Mystery of the Year. We're gonna have his footage of going into space where he he's got one of those trailer footages that says, "Look at our space program." Except I'm gonna splice in footage from Jason X. Jason goes into space.
No,
dude. I was wrong. I was wrong about the Nazis. It's actually a nice little friend of Jeffrey Dahmer he has.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt.
No, I have a great idea, dude. Make it the North Korean space program. You put a little clip of On sitting there with all his generals watching a rocket, and then you show your little video. And
that's beautiful. Yes, place North Korea. That's great. Oh, I'm bringing that one down right now.
Sub program, and then you freaking show a homemade sub. I doubt you have the real footage, but it's a great idea, man. Blame it all on Kim Jong-un. You'll go viral.
Actually, he's got his own YouTube channel. He's got all his footage on there. I'm going to be stealing it all for this.
Oh my God, are you serious? He has a fucking YouTube channel?
Yeah, he's got like 238 people following it. But yeah, he's got his own YouTube channel where he throws up his stuff for his space program.
Channel than I do. What a dick.
Well, put it this way, his program includes like rocket launches, and he's only got 238 people.
Oh, well, then I'm doing pretty good then. Because I ain't got no rocket launchers. And all I have is a panel of people that like to fight, so,
I don't like to fight. I'm more make love, not war.
Oh, you're right. You're Irish.
Yeah, unlike Eldridge God, who seems to want to make love to the corpses of war, but
Hey, there's no proof he had sex with the body afterwards.
He made a fucking snuff film.
And we don't judge on the RedEye.
Okay, so you chopped up your reporter who was interviewing you and ate her corpse. Okay, we don't judge.
Yeah, we've just found out that, here on the Libertarian channel, Libertarians are pro-necrophilia.
Well,
does it even violate the NAP?
Well,
I mean, they're dead, so
no, but that
how can it be aggressed again?
Do you believe you have a soul? Because if you do, then the soul left. So it's all good at that point, right?
Well, you can't be aggressed if you're not alive. So.
Hey, my opinion is we need the solution of just shooting him in the head. He doesn't even deserve a trial, in my opinion. But I can't. I mean, he's dragged it out 2 years.
Necrophilia on the channel. I gotta find the news story.
I just read the dumbest headline I think I've ever seen. From Variety, they just posted something on Twitter, a link to their article that says, "Does the Punisher have a violence problem?" I'm just like, what?
Wait a minute. The man who watched his family tortured and killed, who almost got killed himself, and then said, "I am reborn from this watery grave to murder evil," has a violence problem. What's their first
somebody
clue?
quote tweeted and said "hot take alert?" ?
Oh, fuck me.
It's just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read. Well, that's not true. I've read a lot of dumb things this week.
How's the Punisher going?
Oh man, I got
Yeah,
so
because
many dumb
that's
things.
going to be the next Punisher movie. Going to run up to the bad guys and give them flowers.
Well,
Oh yeah, I mean,
here's another dumb story. Jerry Jones gives Cowboys players ultimatum: stand for national anthem or sit for the game. So my
Yes.
question is, what happens if the whole team kneels? Do they forfeit the game? Will he go that far, or will he back down?
Actually,
honestly,
I heard
don't care.
that Vice President Pence actually walked out of a football game because the players knelt. Is that true?
Yes.
He did. He walked out.
More fucking
He
power
said,
to him.
if you're going to disrespect the American flag, the American anthem, and the American, the country, we're gone. And he walked out. And I agree with him.
And you know what's funny? Okay, so I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm sure all of you know that. That's all I've been watching. I haven't watched football or any other sport, not even NASCAR. And I just saw the poll. Football used to be number 1, and baseball was number 3. Now Major League Baseball is number 1, and football dropped all the way below hockey, for God's sake. And let's be real, hockey is not really one of the major 3 sports.
Hockey's number 4.
Well, it's number 4.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the one in the middle was. What was the one in the middle?
Basketball.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and we don't talk about soccer around here.
So soccer.
Well, I mean, hockey's
we
better
don't
than
talk
soccer.
about soccer as a sport in the country.
Hockey's better than soccer.
Well, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what the NFL does now. I will never watch them again, ever. I'm done.
I'll continue my 28-year boycott.
Oh, well, the thing is, I was a huge 49er fan. So this whole controversy started with my team. And right now, the team sucks ass. I think they're 0-4 at this point.
They're 0-5. Played
it
today. They were the ones that refused to stand. It was their players at the Colts game. They were playing the Colts today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yes, and I haven't even watched. I watched baseball. The playoffs started. I watched that all weekend. Other than today, I got a game tomorrow. I'm watching. I'm a big Dodger fan, but in baseball, they don't mess with this bullshit. They're not fucking political. It's baseball. They're there to play baseball.
That's because the majority of players are white, whereas in football, the majority of players are black.
No, actually, the majority of players in baseball nowadays, I think, might be Hispanic.
Yes. The majority of players in baseball are Hispanic, is the number 1 demographic.
If you were talking about hockey or NASCAR, you're absolutely right. You're there. But baseball, I think, is like 48% white. No, not even that. It's probably like 30 because it's mostly pitchers.
I see the problem with your country now.
Yeah, we get most of our baseball players from like Cuba.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, places like that where you have all these kids who have nothing to do all day but play baseball because they have absolutely nothing, and then the very best are picked up by recruiters.
There is still white people left in America, right?
Yeah, I think we're still 60%.
I've seen a few.
7.
I live in Oregon, so yeah, there's quite a bit.
Of course you do. Of course there's plenty of white people in Oregon. Around here, we've got, it's like kind of, it's gotten weird because we've got all this influx of Indian people. It's like I see as many Indian people as I see Mexican people, which is really strange. So.
Well, see, here's the thing that I know about every Indian that I've met. They all come here and they want to be American.
Right.
I have not met a single Indian from India who had a single good thing to say about their country.
Oh,
It's bizarre.
no, they shit in the
It really
streets, man.
It's like they hate their country and they come here and then they become Kevin, I worked with him for like 2 years when I was doing mortgages. He has an Irish brogue. It's so bizarre. When you hear him on the phone, he sounds like he's Irish, and then you come and meet him, he's Squishy Mark. It's amazing.
Well, what's cool about them is that, I mean, yeah, you're like you were saying, they're really interested in being American, and speaking, you know,
they assimilate very well.
Yeah, and except for the fact, when it comes to animals, they just can't do it. When it comes to dogs, it's a whole other story.
Oh well, and one exception: the Sikhs. The Sikhs are a little out there, but they're good people. They got their ways.
I don't know enough Sikhs. Just know all the regular.
For all you can really say about the Sikhs in the United States is generally they're quiet.
Yes, yeah. They're very quiet.
They stay to themselves. They don't bother other people for the most part. You know, they're very polite. At least the ones I've encountered have always been polite.
So and they have wicked cool hats.
Bob, MC.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
the cool hats.
You and me.
Well, I don't know very many Sikh. I don't think I've ever met a Sikh, but I have met Mennonites, and they're kind of the same way. They're quiet, they keep to themselves and do their own thing.
Hate the Amish.
Both have great beards.
I hate the Amish. They are deadbeats.
Well, Mennonites aren't quite.
When I was a bill collector, the Amish would run up their bills and never pay them. Never. They would never pay their bills.
No, seriously.
Wait, why are they? What?
It's part of their religious beliefs. They believe they shouldn't have to pay back bills. So if somebody's stupid enough to give them money, yeah, it's their fault.
I'm surprised Maud isn't one then.
What do you mean by that, you prick? Yeah, I'm going to start firing back, you assholes.
Taxes are theft. You know, you should move yourself to wherever they live.
No, man. This country ran off modest tariff for over 100 years.
The tariffs
There's no
suck,
reason we can't go back to that.
Tariffs suck.
Tariffs do suck, but the income tax sucks worse.
Yeah.
This is the time I'll take after 2 weeks.
Let's go to fair tax, and then we'll be good.
No, we need to sit there and reduce the size of the federal government. It has nothing to do with the which tax or that tax. It has to do.
That's what I don't get about you, MC. You agree with me on that, but you won't take my giant leap over, which is okay. But also, you argue when I want to meet in the middle.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle of you two.
Maybe it would make more sense.
I guess I'm probably somewhere in the middle of you two.
I don't want you to be an ANCAP. Like, can we agree on a flat tax? Can we meet in the middle here?
Well, I mean,
I'll play the poll.
You can have whatever tax you want. I'm not opposed of saying get rid of the income tax. I'm not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. But the problem isn't the specific tax that is or isn't taking place. The problem is the fact that they take too much in taxes. Period. It's too large. The government is so large that it's become oppressive.
And it's also the fact that some people don't pay any. So, I mean, you got some people that pay in way too much, and then everybody else is. Then they're getting other people are getting the other people's money back.
Well, no. See, right now, we even get a good tax return every year because we have 6 kids. So, I mean, I
think I can give the perfect example here. We give subsidies to corn farmers.
Let me finish real quick.
Okay, finish.
What I'm saying is I would take away that benefit to make a flat 10% tax. And that's it. Like, you end it right there for everybody. You only make $10,000. You pay, what, is it $100, 10% of that? I don't fucking know.
1,000.
1,000. There you go. You know, that's it. That's flat across the board. You make $10 million, you pay 10%. That's a lot of fucking money.
It's too much money to the federal government. You have to reduce the size and scope of the federal government.
Well, I want to, but also
you have to recognize where the priority has to be. There wouldn't be a problem about the taxes if the federal government was reduced in scope and size.
Here's the perfect example. We subsidize corn, which is turned into sugar, which causes an obesity epidemic. So we tax all candies and sugar-made products to discourage people from buying them.
Yeah.
How about we stop taxing the candy and we stop subsidizing corn?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was going to get to the same point. Like, that pisses me off.
Actually,
subsidize corn,
subsidizing corn is even worse than that, because it isn't about the corn subsidies in regards to producing corn syrup. The biggest portion of that goes to producing ethanol, which is even worse.
Yeah, I've got a point on that. Back during the election before during the primaries, what I thought was pretty awesome is Ted Cruz actually had the balls to tell Iowa that he was going to stop corn subsidies, and they still voted for him. So that was pretty amusing, actually. Tell him that he was just going to completely cut him off. Huh? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. No, it's just
okay. You talk.
Damn it! I was just saying it took a lot of balls to do that, and Trump was like, "No, we're going to increase it." No, stop it.
Yeah, there's some things I like about Trump, and then he does some stupid things. Yeah,
Trump has his good points, and Trump has his bad points.
There's things I don't hate, and then there's things that I hate, and it's not super hate. Like there was things that Obama did that I would just despise, and then there was things that Trump does that I'm just like, well, that's fucking stupid, but maybe I just lost all maybe I'm just sort of apathetic to some of the things that people are getting so upset about. So
all right, let me switch it up.
Sorry.
All right, so Minnesota men lived with bodies of mom and brother for a year. This is a short article. I'll read it real quick.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
A Minnesota man who lived in a house with the decomposing bodies of his mother and twin brother for about a year said he could not bring himself to report their death to authorities. I was traumatized, Robert James Colford told the AP on Saturday. What would you do? Okay, what would you do?
I call the cops and say my mom and brother are dead.
I have to ask one question. Was either of the dead corpses still on welfare?
That's a good question.
No, and I won't read the whole article. I'll wrap it up real quick with saying that the Social Security checks were not used. The money was by direct deposit. He could have easily stolen their money, and he did not. So he was not trying to rob them. And they both died from natural
Here's the weird thing about it. They don't talk about what they died from. They just say they're dead. They don't say how they died. I'm kind of curious as to how the mom and the twin brother dies at the same time. That's the part
in a submarine.
Yeah, and it wasn't in a submarine, though. That makes sense, though, to me. I mean, the submarine would be But yeah, he lived with their corpses for a year, just tucked into bed, apparently.
How do you stand that smell for a year? Oh my god.
Well, I can't smell, so that's how I get over it. The part that gets me is they didn't figure it out until somebody said, hey, they haven't been mowing their lawn. Apparently the dead brother's the one who always did the lawn mowing. Or the 94-year-old mom. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, right? Why wouldn't he mow the lawn? I mean, you got 2 dead bodies in there, homie.
But it wasn't his turn.
Don, I have nothing to say to that voice.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well,
No,
guys,
boy.
it's getting late at the moment. I got to get up early, so I'm going to have to let you guys go.
Okay.
All right,
I'll
later.
catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. I love the Christmas card he sent out. That was funny too.
No, but voice, that should be your next short story, dude. You could write about some guy that lives with his dead fucking family, and it's their turn to mow the lawn, and he's talking to himself and shit. Maybe I should write it. I got a good plot already written out.
Yeah, I'd hate to take credit for your work, old boy.
I'm already working
Yeah.
on the severed head story, so you can have this one.
Notice no one's writing a story about a nice happy family.
You know what I think though? I think he had a big picture idea here. All right, this is October, right? He got caught in September. I think he was going to make a haunted house for Halloween and rake in the dough.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, like that's a good money.
Yeah, wow, that's a really good mummified dead woman you've got there.
Yeah, that looks so real. Can I touch it? No. It's wax.
No.
You'll mess it up.
You'll mess it up.
Honestly, not just to be serious for a moment, it could have been the cost of the funerals he didn't want to pay, or he couldn't afford.
Well, yeah, funerals are really expensive. Me, I'm bake me down and leave me on the curb in a glad bag. You know, let the sanitation department bring me home.
Hefty bag.
Yeah, I don't want to go out and fire, but that's just me. I'm a little superstitious.
If I do get cremated, I'm hoping to be loaded into a catapult. I don't care what you aim me at. I just, they spread your ashes. I want to be spread by projectile.
I don't know. I just want to be a marionette, man.
You don't think that would be cool?
What? You cut out their wee
how high?
I would like a big Viking funeral.
Oh
yeah. No, if I could afford the boat, I go out Viking. Viking outing is always cool. But you got to afford the boat though.
Well, have you saw Titanic? All you need is a door.
I just want to be a marionette at my own funeral. A little puppet show, be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And take it you're the puppet.
As long as I die of natural causes, I'll record a last message, like, I'm still alive. And I just want them to hit play and put it in. That'd be great. So, like, my voice just starts playing over the cell phone through the coffin.
I just want it to be really inappropriate, whatever it is.
No, I'm going to record a video message to be played at my funeral, and I'm just going to, use we're all a bunch of bastards, and I hated all your living guts, and just fucking unload.
Well, you sound like a nice-hearted man.
Very kind of you, making sure nobody misses you. And they sit there and go, "I'm glad you're dead. Oh, I'm so glad you had to bring that up. Oh, you're supposed to carry it to your grave, not leave a message behind, you bastard."
Are you gonna save enough money in the will for them to at least have an open bar? So they
no, any money I have saved will go to anybody but anybody I don't like. If I was a crazy old man and I hated my family, I'd give it all to a dog shelter or something.
You'd be one of those.
I intend dying penniless. Some people think that's a bad thing. I think of it as one hell of a budget.
Oh, yeah. Die penniless. Punish your laters.
I want to die in a 19-year-old.
I'm going to sleep, you rat bastards. Good night, Dodge.
All right.
Yeah,
Up here soon anyway. It's about midnight.
Good night,
Yeah, actually, I should probably finish up some work.
All right.
I gotta do the laundry.
Yeah, this has been the RedEye stream number 33. You guys want to shout out your shit before you go? Go for it.
The Eldritch God. That's it.
Nope, I'm just an asshole.
Well, we all knew that. Check out my channel. there's a think there's many different videos and many different subjects, and you will like them all.
All right, my channel
You know
is
what's good for you.
my channel is A Very Dead Horse, and I'm at A Very Dead Horse on Twitter.
Yeah, awesome, and thank you guys. And yeah, you either go and subscribe to Voice of One, or you will haunt your dreams with that avatar. Have a good night.